All right, students, we are on page 125, chapter 7 or lesson 7. And the first step-by-step is insert a smart art graphic. So we're now talking about smart art graphics, which are visual representations of information, just like tables or graphs, but these are just more they're sort of like lists that have been converted into graphics, and they're very they look beautiful, and they are they can relay information to your audience that is very clear to understand. Okay, so the very first step by step on page 125 starts with open the orientation presentation from the data files for this lesson. So we're now in student data files for lesson 7. Open the orientation. Okay. Step 2, save the presentation as orientation solution in the lesson folder. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and do file and then save as back into our student data files. Okay. So we're going to browse and then go back into your desktop, okay, and call it orientation solution. All right. Next, click slide 3 and click the insert a smart art graphic icon in the center of the content placeholder. So as you know, this is the title placeholder, this is the content placeholder, and it has 6 different icons. In the previous lessons, we used the insert table icon and we used the insert chart icon. Now we are using insert a smart art graphic icon. And that opens up a dialog box with a left pane and a center pane and a right pane. So the left pane tells you the different categories of smart art, and this shows you the various subtypes. So if you click on this, the right pane shows you what that looks like. All right. All right. So step number 4, click hierarchy in the type list in the left pane. Click hierarchy, and now you'll notice that there are different types of smart art options here available to you that show hierarchy. And the word hierarchy basically means what comes under what or what comes above what. So this kind of shows you a top level and then the subordinate levels. Okay, so we're using the hierarchy list. And step number 5 is click the first layout in the first row, the organization chart. So as usual, they have little name tips, okay, or key tips that pop out every time you hover your mouse over each of the icons. So this is the organization chart, and we're going to click on it and click OK. All right. And now we have an organization chart. Now what I want you guys to notice is it inserted all these different shapes. Okay, these are shapes, but in addition to the shapes, there is a border around the big shape, okay, the smart art graphic. If you want to make changes to everything, you want to make sure you're clicking on the outside border. If you want to make a change to a specific shape, then you click only the specific shape. Otherwise, you always click the larger border around it, okay? And another box pops up here. This is called the text pane. If you look up on your ribbon, you'll notice that the text pane shows up here in the Create Graphic group, okay, in the Smart Art Tools Design tab. This text pane is very useful, and I prefer to use this instead of typing directly into the shapes. So I just want to give you a tip that whenever you have to type text into SmartArt, always use the text pane. It helps you be more organized than typing directly inside the boxes, okay? I also want you guys to take a look up here. There's an additional a feature here called Add Shape. So if you decide that you wanted to add more boxes, all you have to do is click on Add Shape, and there's an arrow. You can even choose whether you want to add shape after or before, okay? All right, with that done, what's our next step? Now we're going to go to page number 7, and it just says to save the presentation. Okay. Let's move on to page 126. The step-by-step add text to smart art. So we're still going to use the same presentation, and it says on the smart art tools design tab in the create graphic group, click the text pane. Well, we have it open already. This action opens a text pane. You can also click the arrow on the far left of the smart art graphic border to open the text pane. Okay, so if you, let's say this wasn't open, if you opened the arrow here, oh no, that's not it. If you opened this arrow, it would open up the text pane. Okay, all right, at the top of the text pane, type Jeremy Nelson. So right here, we're going to type in Jeremy Nelson. So note how when I'm typing in the text pane, the boxes get the same text. Okay, all right. Let's go to the next page. Okay, now remember that this is called the top level shape because it's at the top. This is called the assistant shape. So even though it is under Jeremy, it shows that he's like probably like the principal. This is like the assistant principal, and then these would be subordinates. So subordinates are under both of them. All right. So these people work for these two people. So that's just a quick way of understanding that. All right. Next, it says click the bullet item below Jeremy Nelson. Okay. And then type Katie Jordan. So Katie, I want to make sure that her name is spelled with a capital. All right. And then it says here, Katie Jordan is an assistant to Jeremy Nelson. And as such, she has an assistant shape on the level between the top level and the subordinate shapes. Click on the next bullet item and type Eric Lang. So here we type in Eric Lang. Okay. And then we go to step number 5 on page 127. Remember, don't press enter after typing the names, because if you press enter, it will create a new shape. We do not need a new shape at this point, but if later we need to create more shapes, we can press enter. Okay. So anyway, if we by accident create enter, then we can always do undo, either by going into this quick access toolbar and pressing this arrow, or doing Control Z. All right. Now next here, we want to type in Holly Holt. And then the last bullet is Anders Madsen. Okay. Click the close button, and now we have all the names inside the shapes. Number 8, click just right to the name of Nelson. Okay. Click just to the right of the name Nelson. Okay. In the top level shape, and press enter. Okay. And then type director. So we can type directly into the shape as well. Notice that the text size adjusts in all the shapes to account for the additional entry. So this was a larger font size, but because we entered another line here, it adjusted the size, not just for this box, but for all of them. Okay. Step number 9, click after the name Jordan, and then type assistant director. Okay, we're going to continue in the next recording.